What's up, everybody? I'm Rob Whiteside. This is Deep in the Plus episodes. We're going to try a new thing where we're going to review one episode of a TV show from Disney Plus at a time and hopefully get some very quick reactions to brand new things. This week, we're going to do What If, the brand new Marvel show that just dropped. And with me is a panel of Marvel experts. We have Eric Wolf.
Hey, guys. What's up?
Desi.
Hi.
And, of course, Mr. Patrick Hackett.
Captain Patrick.
I'm sorry. Did I say Mr.? I meant Captain. So, you know what? D23, when they introduced What If, I was really excited about it back then. And they had the footage. And in this footage, they showed Captain Carter for the first time and coming down and that shield just hitting the ground. And the whole audience went berserk. And I was like, oh, okay, all right, this is going to be exciting. And then the next day, I actually saw somebody cosplaying as Captain Carter, which was extremely crazy. So one of the things that, like, I know that Patrick and I have talked comic books. I assume the other two of you guys are somewhat comic book aficionados. We won't say nerds. But there was a comic series that started all this off called What If. So the idea was, what if, and you change one thing. What if Spider-Man joined the Fantastic Four? And then there's another one that's, what if the Avengers fought the Kree Skrull War without Rick Jones? Well, that's really darn specific. What if Doctor Doom had become a hero? And then I also pulled this one up. What if the Avengers had never been? So, I mean, you know, the What If series was, you know, a comic book series already. And then the geniuses, and I'm going to assume that Kevin Feige is the genius of all this stuff, is, you know, they came in and they said, hey, here's this brand new series that we're going to do, and it's going to integrate into the MCU, and it's animated, which means we can use the voices. I'm going to start with you, Eric. What did you think about this, like, just the animation and the concept of this show? Like, were you jazzed from the beginning?
Yeah, no, definitely. As soon as I heard that it was going to be animated, it's one of those things that was kind of missing in Marvel. Like, Marvel does amazing things with live action, and now we're seeing that they can do great things with short form live action shows, or I guess long form, because we get to see a bunch of episodes. But the fact that they did animation was so cool. And I like this style of animation as well. Like, it's very different than what we're, I guess, like, used to seeing. So it's not like, you know, it's not like a Phineas and Ferb or a Rick and Morty or anything like that. It's stylized very well, and I think it fits very, you know, it fits for the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
You don't think it would have fit in, like, a Phineas and Ferb kind of look? What? Nah. That's insane, dude. No?
I mean, they did their Marvel stuff. It was good.
They did the crossover, yeah.
Yeah. I was going to start by saying, yeah, the first episode is called Baymax and Hero.
Oh, man, that really does look like the Baymax. Oh, wow.
I would have called it not Big Hero 6. What's the Iron Giant? I thought it looked like the Iron Giant.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but that's, I mean, and do we call this cel-shaded? Is that what this is? I mean, this kind of animation.
Probably the style. Yeah.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, it's very cool. But when I saw that scene, I was like, this has Big Hero 6 written all over it. So, Desi, did you have any, any thoughts coming into this show as to, like, any expectations, I guess, is what I was going to ask?
No, I'm trying to not get into any spoilers or anything, so I wanted to come in fresh without knowing. Like, I didn't even know that this was going to be the Captain Carter episode. So I like going in fresh and then coming up with my theories afterward.
Well, just for everyone who's going to be watching this, we want to just tell you there will be spoilers because we got to talk about stuff. We absolutely have to talk about stuff. Patrick, for you...
Rosebud is the sled. It's a sled.
I haven't gotten to that part yet. Son of a bee. God bless America. Patrick, like, okay, so the voice cast thing was a huge seller coming into this, and yet almost at the last minute, I feel like I saw an announcement like, hey, by the way, we're not going to have RDJ. We're not going to have Chris Evans. No. And I'm just like, oh, okay, so you brought the B Squad in, but like, I mean, how did you feel about this? Like the Cap not being Chris Evans?
I didn't really notice that much. He didn't have a whole heck of a lot to say. I thought Hayley Atwell was amazing as always. She seems to really love this character, and I think as we talk more and more, we're going to see that this may lead to a return in the actual live-action MCU. But the people missing did not bother me at all. Sebastian Stan's lines felt kind of mailed in, like he was doing it on his way to work, but otherwise I thought it was good. Getting at I always forget his name, Jeffrey
Wright
from Westworld. Jeffrey Wright from
Jeffrey
Westworld to do. Lord help me pronounce Otu. You see it written so much, you don't really know how to pronounce it. The Watcher.
Yeah, I like that we just call him the Watcher from here on out.
Yeah.
But yeah, and that's how it opens. And a lot of that dialogue is very canned. And I wonder if they're just like, if they had Jeffrey Wright just cut the opening and the closing and it's going to be the same the whole time. Because that whole intro is, I'm the Watcher and there's multiple timelines. And if, this is like, what if one thing changed? And then the whole time I'm thinking, dang, he's going to be Commissioner Gordon. That's going to be awesome. But like, he has an amazing voice, and it was great that they cast him in this. I think that was brilliant. So.
And it's everybody's Nexus event, it seems, tying it into Loki, is that these are the Nexus events. That moment when she decides that she wants to stay in the room, there's a Nexus event, and because the TVA isn't around to prune the timeline, that's what now exists.
Do you remember in Loki there was like somebody in the background who looked like Peggy Carter, looking like she was getting arrested?
Yes.
Yep.
What outfit was she wearing? Because now I'm like, was it this outfit? Was she arrested because of this Nexus event? Because she decided to stay?
Crazy.
That's why this is called Deep in the Plus.
If some of the stuff comes into canon, it's going to be pretty amazing if they do it that way. It really will be. If they go into some weird timeline, like in the Multiverse of Madness, and she's there with that shield, oh my God, that's going to be amazing. But then again, they did the thing with Chris Evans where they made him look small so that when he was Captain America, he looked, big. But that was him all the way through. In this, they almost made her normal frame look like She-Hulk.
Yes.
So that's going to be hard to do live action, but it looked a little off-putting, I thought. But it was, it kind of canon, right? Because he got bigger, she should have gotten bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I saw the commercial, I don't think that I saw her like next to anybody, so I didn't realize how much bigger she was going to get until this episode. And then I was like, oh yeah, well I guess that would make sense because Steve got bigger. Of course she would get bigger. So it was a little off-putting or strange to see giant Peggy but still falling in love with skinny Steve.
Well, and think about that is like when he got bigger, they were almost equal to each other now, but he's already small and she got bigger. Like that's almost like there's your Iron Giant. That's crazy. Yeah. So speaking of which, this picture of Steve, he looks like he's 7. No,
he does.
I mean, did that like instantly I was like, that's not right.
Well, put it in the little historical accuracy. I mean, there were people who were forging birth certificates to try and get in and fight in World War II. I mean, he was just a poor kid from
Disney
Brooklyn.
Did it.
It's possible. He was like, now I'm thinking about the ramifications, all that, and I want to stop talking.
Yeah, no, I'm going to stop you there. Because of the fact,
Good luck.
Because of the fact that we've already seen it in live action is the reason why I'm like, no, like, because we're talking about everything that we know already in these stories except this one event. So like it's the same Steve Rogers, like we know what he looks like, we know like what everyone looks like, and then it just changes. So no, he looked a little young and he didn't look exactly, obviously it's animation also, but it was just a little too off from what we already know as skinny, wimpy Rogers.
Yeah, what he said. Not what you said, Patrick. What he said.
I'm with Wolf. Yep.
Okay,
Good
cool.
call.
So there was this thing, and I don't know if you guys saw this. There was a one shot. So Marvel was doing these on the Blu-ray releases, and it was the Blu-ray kids look it up. But there were Blu-rays that had extras on them, and it would be these one shots that would carry the story, almost like they were extended, like in credit scenes almost, because there were these little one shots that they would do. And so there was an Agent Carter one shot, and I assume everybody on here has seen that. Yes. So
a long time ago.
But it was I can't remember if it was actually on the first Avenger or if it was on something after it, but it was an Agent Carter one shot, and in it she worked for this CIA agency, and they hated women, and they were like, "You're just a woman, go get us coffee, you're no good," even though she had been, integral into the whole Captain America thing. So it was after Steve was frozen in ice. She's like, a little bit lost. She joins the CIA. Howard Stark got her in. And then Bradley Whitford was in that as her boss, and then he's in this as her so he's in this episode too, and this is Bradley Whitford. Clearly that's him, and you can see it clear as day. And it was great that he was in this, but then they did the Agent Carter series, and he was not in it. So this is a little bit weird to me. It's almost like it's canon and it's not canon.
If I'm not mistaken, was the Agent Carter series finally, didn't Kevin Feige say that wasn't going to be canon anymore?
Oh, did he?
Yeah,
none of the TV stuff
I was under
is
the impression
canon.
that's...
Oh, see, I thought
S.H.I.E.L.D.
wasn't, but I didn't think that was, because it's the same Howard Stark, it's the same dumb. It's the same actors. Yeah, I felt like it would kind of followed canon, but
it was supposed to.
And Jarvis,
right?
Jarvis was in Endgame as Howard Stark's
and it was the same guy. Yeah.
So how is that not canon?
Because they said.
Yeah, that's that gray area.
Nope, don't accept it. That's weird. That is too weird. So, just to run down. So they introduced the whole idea that what if, and they and the Watcher, and that's really cool. And then we kind of get a backstory of Captain America, and he's like, but and it's almost Twilight Zone-ish, right? This whole idea. It's like the Twilight Zone entry. It's like, picture, if you will, that didn't happen, but then one little thing changed, and so in it, Steve gets shot. And they're kind of worried about him. And then instead, Peggy gets into the chamber. I'm going to ask you this question. Is that a selfless act, or was that a selfish act that she got into that chamber?
Ugh.
I'm going to get powers. I'm going to get strong. And I'm going to do it. And they're like, don't do it. Don't do it. And she's like, I'm going to do it. Was it a selfless act because she wanted to make sure that she took all the serum, and they could have saved the serum?
No, they were screaming about not being able to save it, that it was time to go and somebody needed to get in there. So I think on the one hand it was selfless and trying to do for the greater good, but it is a bit selfish because she wanted to rise above her station and wanted to be more than she was. And she knew she could serve her country, the Allies, the Howling Commandos, whatever you want to say, better in this position because Steve couldn't any longer.
Yeah, by the way, when we were talking about their size difference, this looks like a mom scolding her son is what this looks like here.
See, Wolf already told me to not talk about that anymore, and you bring it back up.
Can't help it. Sorry. By the way, so the Red Skull thing comes up, and it almost like the dialogue is verbatim from the original movie, and that's cool. But they don't use the original actor because apparently he wants nothing to do. I forget the reason.
Yeah, Hugo Weaving wants nothing to do with Marvel.
So they use the guy that they used in Infinity War and Endgame, which is cool. I mean, so it's kind of like we're getting secondhand Red Skull, but we're getting the real secondhand Red Skull. But it's the same dialogue. I thought that was interesting.
It was fun to see the fact that they would give us the exact dialogue, they would use the new guy essentially. I was like, oh, this is interesting, because I know it's not Hugo, is that his name?
Hugo Weaving.
Hugo Weaving.
Yeah, I was like, it's interesting that it's not him, but they have this new guy. But he sounds, honestly speaking, if we're gonna get more Red Skull, I'm glad that they didn't recast again for someone else.
No, that's a good point. I don't think we'll get caught for this, but this is that scene that we got to see in at D23, is this thing with her up here. It's like, oh my gosh! Nice. And then she comes down and there's like
at the Brandenburg gates. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that was.
Oh, that's a good scene.
Yeah, that was a really good scene.
There's a lot of shot for shot stuff here, and it's really well done. Some of the stuff on the train, when they bust into the Nazi headquarters, they're in the exact same formation they were in First Avenger. It's really well done. I mean, I know that there's like the Keeper of the Holocron for Star Wars that tries to keep all the canon in order. There has to be someone other than Feige who is doing that for Marvel that is like, nope, this needs to look exactly like this.
Right?
So 2 questions I have about this is, one is she has a different take. Now, obviously, she is not Cap, right? I mean, and that's like clear, is that she's not Cap. She's a different person. But she doesn't seem true to her character in the movie, that she's got a very Spider-Man quippy kind of like thing that she does in her languaging when she's got the, she throws the shield. She's like, oh, I could get used to this. And like, I mean, she sounds again more like that kind of Deadpool, Spider-Man. I'm trying to figure out somebody else good that would be a good comparison. That's not who she is in the movie, though.
Human Torch.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, do you guys disagree? Like, Desi, do you feel like, I mean, that's distracting, that's not true to the character, or?
Based on Falcon and the Winter Soldier, the serum enhances you, like your personality too. So it just, if you're good, then you're really good. So if maybe she was a little quippy, now she's a lot quippy.
Okay,
that's a good point.
Yeah, right. Because she does have some really good lines. I mean, they attributed one of the most famous Cap lines in the comic books to her in her funeral mass read by her evil daughter or niece.
No, we're not going to talk about Agent 13 right now. We're going to hope that she comes around. It's all a ruse. She's going to come around. It's going to be fine. No, wait. So
I think she's just a woman scorned. I mean,
yeah, by her
hell
country,
hath no fury, like a
woman scorned for Sega,
by a guy who leaves her for her aunt.
Okay.
Yeah, okay, I can see that. Yep,
no, you're right.
Valid.
So, but the second thing about her, so that was the first thing. The second thing about her, she is OP to the hilt. Like, again, I mean, and part of it could be, it's a cartoon, she can do whatever, but she takes down this entire platoon by herself in a way that Cap never would have. This would have been an Avengers scene of like all of them working together, and she's just like, nah, hold my beer, I got this, and she just tears into him, and I'm like, can she do that? Like, it's almost like too good. Like, almost if she like lived in this universe for real, that you would need half the Avengers.
Yeah. She flipped over two trucks because she thought the first time it was fun. Like, oh, hey, this is great. Do it again.
The second time she was just like, let's do that again. It was like, what?
I also did. Go ahead, Patrick.
I think your idea that it's a cartoon and so it's a little bit over stylized and a little over dramatic is probably true, but it felt like her transformation was even bigger than Steve's. Like, we're talking about the size difference. And maybe she had a lot of these skills, from her prior training. Agent Carter is a very, very talented agent in the series. So like Desi was saying before, everything's just turned up to 11,
Mm-hmm.
So,
whoa.
Yeah, that happened. So here's another thing that happened that I was like, how is this going to go? And I'm glad that it went the way it did. There's a very Indiana Jones scene where this guy comes out and he's like this big lug and he's like cracking his neck, and then she just basically like takes him down like in 8 seconds. And so I mean that was kind of funny, but that felt like a very Indiana Jones type of thing. So then we get into this situation. Now, here's the thing. The Watcher says we change one thing, right? Mm-hmm. In changing that one thing, now we're making it that Howard Stark invented Iron Man?
Yep.
Yes, I was thinking about that too.
They changed one thing, and now all of a sudden Howard Stark's like, I can build Iron Man.
Yeah.
I can do it.
But didn't you ever read Ashton Kutcher's biography, Butterfly Effect?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You change one thing. I mean, honestly, this is why this had to come out after Loki, is because all of this is like, hey, this is kind of why the TVA has to do what they do, because if not, things get all messed up.
Yeah, I guess so. So, along those same lines, is Bucky going to be the Winter Soldier? Because I feel like when we meet him in Cap in the first Avenger, he's being tested on, and he's being given super soldier serum, and he's in a bad way. He's not locked up with everybody else. He's, Cap's like, where's Cap? Where's Bucky? Where is he? And so they find him, and he's being tested on, and he's becoming a super soldier. Is that happening to this guy?
I really thought that they were going to make Steve the Winter Soldier. Mm-hmm. When he fell off, and they kind of had the same scene where instead of Bucky, it's Steve who falls down. And I thought, oh, this is how they're going to make Steve big, so that he matches Peggy's size, but they never went that route. And I also thought, if something happens to Peggy and then she winds up in the future, then that's also how Steve's going to wind up in the future, and they still get their happy ending.
Yeah, I had that in my notes. I was like, Steve is Agent Carter's Bucky.
I mean, he kind of is. Did you guys watch Stargirl at all?
No, I've been meaning to.
So Stargirl has Luke Wilson, because the Wilson boys love to be in superhero stuff. And Luke Wilson is a character from the Justice Society called Stripesy, and it's like he's in a suit like this, but he is a sidekick because he's not super powered, and so he does that. So speaking of the suit, here it is. Patrick, we were talking before the show that you said, I was like, why does it say C-15? So why does it say C-15?
So 2 of the reasons I've heard are Captain America 15 is an issue where Cap and Bucky are fighting side by side, but also C is, Roman numeral for 100, and C 115 is an issue of Captain America where he is fighting the Red Skull over the Cosmic Cube, aka the Tesseract. So they love to drop these references to the comics in there. It's really cool to find them.
Yeah. Okay. Also, what is up? Why is Howard the kind of guy that likes to watch?
That was weird.
Wasn't that? Was he? I mean, he was like, "Oh no, don't mind me, guys."
Was he that creepy before?
I don't know. You change one thing. You change one thing, and everybody loses it. The Howard Stark thing is interesting to me too, as they go through the universe and who plays Howard. Right, so there's 2 different Howard Starks. This is like young Howard Stark, and then you've got old Howard Stark, who again we run into in Endgame. So it's always interesting to me which Howard Stark is going to be showing up at which time. So you mentioned Red Skull. So Red Skull is in this, and he takes off his mask, and he's got evil plans. And then his boy, and I forget Dr. whatever his name is. Zola. Yeah.
Thank you.
Toby plays him, and Toby, the guy who plays Zola, I don't know if you guys know this or not, plays the voice of Dobby the house elf.
Oh.
You're welcome.
Did not know that.
Yep. So anyway, we find out that the Red Skull's got this evil plan, and so Captain Carter gathers the boys, and they go, and they've got this cool zip line set up that they're all going to get on, and Dum Dum's looking very upset, and there's Bucky and all.
That's just his face.
Yeah, and then there's the joke about like, so they get on, they go to get on the train, and Captain Carter saves Bucky at the last minute and pulls on his arm. He said, "Hey, I thought you were going to pull my arm out." So I mean, like, because that's where he's supposed to lose his arm. You change one thing.
Yep.
So I mean, that was a funny little bit. That was, but then Steve goes in as the Hydra. Is it the Hydra Smasher? Is that the character's name?
Stomper. Hydra Stomper.
Yeah.
So they go in. He goes in, and there's this whole bunker full of, a train car full of explosives, and they think they've lost him forever, down in the ice. Down in the ice. Okay, so maybe not everything changes. And then Agent Carter, Captain Carter's really mad, and then she goes and visits Zola, who looks here again like one of the Lollipop Guild.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
I don't know. That's kind of weird. And then she gets the evil plan out of him that Zola is. I mean that the Red
You're
Skull
underselling that scene because it was really good.
Tell me, sell it.
Because she goes into there, and I will tell you nothing. And then the next scene is he told me everything, and it was just Hayley Atwell really playing that so well. It was a chef's kiss. It was well done.
So she gets all the information. They run off to the Beast's castle, and then and then they find out they're gonna split up, and they're going in two different directions. And so then we find out that he has the Tesseract now, and he is going to open a portal to another world to bring a new mascot for Hydra to life. Again, this was not the Red Skull's plan originally in the movie. You change one thing and his entire plan changes? Am I the only one with a problem with that? I mean, he wanted to build like the super army, and yet in this one he wants to bring the Hydra mascot to life from another dimension.
I thought the same thing. On that note, I did think the same thing. Because I was like, it's very odd that, Agent Carter becomes Captain Carter, which necessarily doesn't have anything to do with the Red Skull and the Red Skull's plan or nothing. But then, he's magically, gonna be having this whole other plan. It was very weird. Because it was like, do they have anything to do with Rogers and with Carter? Like, no, his plan doesn't have anything to do with either one of them. Like, honestly.
So then Syndrome and Mirage capture Mr. Incredible and have him held hostage here. Come on, be original, people. Be original.
I did not notice that.
Oh my gosh, come on.
I'm glad I'm not the only one.
I see it.
Yeah, I can still only see the Iron Giant when I look at that.
Okay.
Also, why Captain Carter? Why not Captain Britain? Because Steve wasn't Captain Rogers.
So, I looked that up. Captain Britain was a character in the Marvel Universe already.
Yeah.
Is going to be, apparently. Already
and
was.
She mentions him, not in this movie, or not in this show, but she mentions him in, I think it's, one of the movies that, Infinity War. When Rogers goes back in time and he sees her, she mentions Captain Britain by name. Whatever his real name. Yeah. So it's interesting. There's always little like hints, and it's funny to see them kind of play into something.
Is she Lady Loki or is she the Enchant? No, wait, that was
Exactly.
we already did that one. We already did that one a while ago. So, and then from out of the Sarlacc pit comes the tendrils to pull Boba Fett into, I don't know. There's just
I got Pirates of the Caribbean out of that one.
Okay.
Oh,
The
very
Kraken.
Kraken.
Come on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, so I did a little deep dive. I watched
Wait,
a bunch of other people's videos.
but not even with this. Come on, that's totally Sarlacc pit. Okay,
I mean, that's just what those creatures' mouths look like. I think that's actually just a squid's mouth.
Sorry, Patrick.
Squid are terrifying. That's why we eat them so much, so they don't take over the world.
You were saying.
So I'm going to butcher this. Shana Gorath, which is a long-time rival of Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange encounters this creature a lot. There's been rumors that it pops up in the Multiverse of Madness as well. So possible another tie-in to the greater MCU here.
That's
Okay.
fun.
Okay.
Yeah.
So explain this to me. Riddle me this, Batman. So when we get to the end, so she pushes this thing into the Tesseract, I guess, and this is her sacrifice moment. It wasn't into the ice. It was she sacrifices herself into the Tesseract, which is supposed to be a portal in the movie which is the movie is where the Tesseract comes in play. It's the first Avengers movie. They Hawkeye says it's a doorway. What's on the other side? Like it's a doorway. It's a cosmic doorway. So then when we see them find a way to open it up again, we don't see it as a doorway necessarily, do we? I mean, at this point, it feels like it's like a time portal.
Well, I thought about it sort of like a doorway because the tentacle creature didn't come out also.
Yes, it did.
Oh,
In
Parts
pieces.
of it did.
Yeah, watch.
I only saw this
mean-
one, so forgive me.
I just thought it was
Oh, yeah.
a barge.
Yeah, so I mean, right? So like in the Avengers movie, Loki comes through it because it's a doorway. When he uses it on top of the Avengers Tower, it's a door, or Stark Tower at that point. It's a doorway. This is weird. Like, I mean, do we have an explanation for this? I'm sure some comic book nerd somewhere has a great explanation for why this is a frozen in time moment. But it's almost like, Eric, it's almost like the genie in the lamp when we did Aladdin. It's just like, 10,000 years
true.
and the Tesseract will give you such a crick in the neck. I don't.
Yeah,
True.
so 70 years pass. I mean, what does that time feel like for Captain Carter? Is she fighting a calamari monster that whole time?
For that whole time, or was she fighting him for a small amount of time?
No, because she jumps.
Right.
Yeah.
Because she jumps out, and she's like, she jumps out, and she sees Clint and Nick here, and she says, "Where's Steve Rogers?" Like she jumps out. That's the first thing she says is, "Where's Steve Rogers?" Because she's been frozen in that
So yeah,
moment.
it's a minute.
Yeah, and so
Good luck.
and then he's like, and then Fury has to explain to her, the war's been over for 70 years. I don't know. This seems inconsistent to me. And again, I'm
I
not.
think you added the consistency to it because it was just a moment for her. It exists outside of space and time. I mean, with a lot of this cosmic stuff with the Marvel Universe, you just kind of gotta roll with it. Like how does Wakanda really keep itself completely disguised from the rest of the world? You just kind of go with it. And I think this is one of those go with it moments.
Yeah. Okay. So this is the episode. It was only 34 minutes, and Patrick, you and I talked about this a little bit. It felt like they told the entire story of the first Avenger, everything we needed to know.
Yep.
In 34 minutes. It felt like a full-length movie, and it felt long, but not in a bad way. Desi, did you feel the same way about it?
I mean, I thought, wow, maybe they should have just given it to Peggy because look how much she kicks butt. Seems like she would have been better than Steve.
Okay.
But
So in summary, Steve was a waste of a movie. They should have had this all along. They're going to have to retcon it.
apparently.
Yeah. So this was interesting. All right. So the next one is supposed to be the one with T'Challa becoming Star-Lord.
Killmonger?
Star-Lord.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
But I was reading this article in Inverse, where they said the next one was supposed to be this one, the Iron Man Killmonger episode. So, but everything I've heard is that the next one's supposed to be that one. So these are a look at some of the ones we've got coming up, but this is apparently the one that's supposed to be next. And this was, of course, Chadwick Boseman's last appearance in anything, but also obviously as as the
Did he
T'Challa.
do the voice?
Yeah, he did. He did.
Yeah.
Chad, it
Wow.
was it was the last thing that
Wow.
he did the voice for. So
Because I thought they must have recast the voice. I didn't realize he actually did it.
no, see, this thing was supposed to come out a long time ago. I mean, they you know, and then when with animation, they usually put the voice down first and then they do the animation, right? And so this thing was supposed to have come out a long time ago. Theoretically, this should have been out more than a year ago.
Yeah, I think that's why Kevin Feige mentioned the fact that they're not going to recast him on like anything and any front. They're not going to recast. They're not going to try to do that like weird CGI thing or whatever. Yeah.
And then and Wolf, you got to be excited about this one. Spider-Man as the Sorcerer Supreme. I mean,
I'm already saving up money to buy a hot toy. My first hot toy is probably going to be that one. I told Rob because the hot toy came out and I was looking at it, and my biggest problem has always been Spider-Man's suit in Avengers Campus. That suit's the same suit that he's wearing in this, so that's interesting to me. I don't know if maybe in the next Spider-Man movie we're gonna see this suit. There's slight differences in his suit that he wears in Avengers Campus and his regular red and blue suit. So kind of funny to me, but I was like, wait a minute, I've seen that suit before. It's that suit, the Avengers Campus suit, just with the cape of I forgot what it's called.
Doctor Strange.
Well, it has a name.
It has a name. Yeah. A cloak has a name, Rob.
So when you talk about the hot toy, Eric, is this the hot toy you're going to be buying?
Yes. Look at that. Look at that.
I mean,
So
I kind of want that now.
Right?
it's the cloak of levitation. Just
There we
very
go.
obviously named for being able to levitate you.
Obviously.
Yeah, that's pretty sick looking. I gotta
love
say.
it.
So I'm excited about a lot of this stuff coming up, and I'm sure you
Yeah.
guys are too. But let me just go around and get your final thoughts, and we're gonna start with Desi and go around the opposite way here. Since we're doing a different show, we'll go the opposite way. We'll go counterclockwise, and just get your thoughts, your overall thoughts on this. Because again, we're tearing it apart because that's what we do. But at the same time, tell me your thoughts on this one, Desi.
I enjoyed it. I'm curious if all of these what if episodes are going to tie in together or if they're all just one-offs. Because now I'm like, well, what happens to Captain Carter? What happened to Steve? I want to know what happens in this timeline.
That's how they get you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Okay. Patrick?
It was honestly a lot better than I was expecting. It felt long, like we said, not in a bad way. It was really entertaining. The new judgment that we developed during our fantastic Stuntman episode is I only looked at my phone once, so that's pretty good. There's a lot of great stuff in here. Nods to Captain Britain, nods to the Black Knight a little bit. It looked like Peggy unsheathed Excalibur. So there was a lot of cool stuff in here, and the art was just fantastic. I'm really looking forward to the rest. And much like Desi, I'm interested to see what's going to tie in ultimately into the greater MCU.
Yeah, for sure. Eric?
Yeah, I agree. The cool thing about this, I didn't necessarily have any expectations for it. Like, I was very excited for it because it was something new that we were getting in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and just the Marvel Universe as a whole, but I didn't have any expectations for it. I thought it was good. I actually disagree with you guys. I think it was kind of rushed, and it felt very short, and I kind of feel like it could have been a little longer, which is funny because when Patrick said I only looked at my phone once, I feel the exact same way, but I also felt like, oh man, is that it? Like that's all we're getting? And just like Patrick and Desi said also, of like seeing if this is going to connect. I'm interested to see if these characters, if we're basically just seeing the origin stories that we know from the MCU movies and inserting a character, or we're changing something a little bit, because the Spider-Man one, he's still Spider-Man, so it's a little weird as to where that's gonna fit into things. But I'm interested. I'm excited to see other episodes coming up.
In DC,
I'm curious if this is all one timeline. Like all of these what ifs are because of the one Nexus event of Peggy deciding to stay in the room.
See, I don't think they are. I think that each one is going to be unto itself. I think we hit a reset on each one and it's really more along the lines of the multiple timelines. I mean, that's and again, I could be wrong on that. I don't think it's going to be like we get a new Avengers at the end of all of this or a Defenders. I think each one is its own story. And because I think you can tell it better that way, because we don't have to see the Spider-Man episode and then Peggy Carter come in and we have to tell her story again or where she's been or any of that kind of stuff. I think they're going to be siloed. I believe they are, because and I would like to see that. Honestly, I would like to see that be the case, because right now I'm looking at this, as we've talked about it, as it's interconnected. If it's interconnected into Agent Carter one shot, if it's interconnected in Agent Carter's TV show, if it's interconnected to the MCU movies, I have problems with the consistency of those. If it's in a window and this little like fishbowl by itself, then it makes more sense to me that it just be what it is in here. Now that said, if they're all different timelines, there's always that possibility to bring them back in the MCU. But the original comic books were one shots, and that's what I would hope, that this would stay true to the original comics. They would just be one shots and not go into anything else. But again, if they tease it in multiverse, if they tease it in any of the other movies, I'm all for it. But I think it's going to be one shots. But we'll know after next week, I would think, because I do think that there's an episode where Quill is part of the Avengers in this one. And then there was this, as Star-Lord, but we already know that there's going to be what if, T'Challa was Star-Lord.
Yeah.
So
that's the other thing that I was going to ask you guys, because I haven't looked at any episodes or anything like that. Like, I knew that the Spider-Man one was coming, but at the end of this one, we did see Nick Fury and we saw Hawkeye, and it looked like regular Nick Fury and regular Hawkeye. Do you know if they're going to be in any other episodes? Have you guys heard anything about that?
I have.
Oh.
There we go.
So Clint is supposed to be Hulk in a what if he was Hulk, which is kind of cool to think, because it would be nice for my boy to get some powers at some point.
He has plenty of powers. He's awesome. Leave Hawkeye out of this. Kate Bishop's amazing too. We're gonna have fantastic Archer.
I
mean, he's basically boy Katniss. I don't know.
Settle down. Settle down.
Oh my
End this show before our friendship's over.
All right. Well, I thank you guys for jumping in on this one. I appreciate it. I mean, and hopefully, we'll do some more episodes of episodes, Deep in the Plus episodes. So thank you guys for joining us. Thank you, panel, for being here, and y'all have a great night.